Hi, everybody. I'm the Padre, Father Harry. I'm a priest of the Archdiocese San Francisco. My good buddy Pritch. We've known each other for a couple of days, and we're still not tired of one another.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
The Padre, the Pritch, and the Padre, and we hope that you've had an opportunity to see us before and listen. And what we're trying to do is just bring a little joy, a little happiness, a little hilarity to some of the more serious things in the world.
Right.
And one thing that I find pretty serious as a priest today is Whiners. You know, even if you spell it through, say it through your nose, it's hi, I'm... The world is such a terrible place.
Everything's going to be...
Teacher, you know, at 3 o'clock on Friday, we didn't have homework.
You forgot to give us our over-the-weekend homework assignment.
So we don't know what to do.
Everybody in the seminary, we went...
Yeah. Who is this?
Idiots, you know.
So I was thinking about there's so much in the and we're not a scripture show, but there's so much in the Old Testament about people complaining. Yeah. You took us here, you took us there, you didn't feed us, you didn't.
Yeah, here's Jesus.
But I parted the Red Sea. Oh, well, okay, that's one for you.
Making everything available for them for the Sermon on the Mount. And they're still going, the fish is cold. Yeah. Come on, guys.
Well, I really believe that places that we set up are not the most important, but because we set them up, that's chapels, churches, temples, mosques, meeting places where people get together one with another to strengthen their spiritual lives. All of those are holy places.
Yes.
We got this little shrine down on Columbus Avenue in North Beach, dedicated St. Francis, called the Porciuncula. Yeah. And on the steps there it says Sanctus Locus, you know, a holy place.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's not open to the public now because our Archbishop and the Franciscans and whoever are not able to come to a meeting of the minds where there is no real reason why this shouldn't be open to the public. It's a jewel of tourism and something that we have in the city of St. Francis.
A part of Assisi, right?
Yeah, it's a duplicate of the chapel that he built, which is in Assisi, inside the big cathedral down there. So now I'll get off my soapbox on that, but it's just a shame that so many people...
What's the holdup? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Fear?
Nah, I think it's something that they meaning the church didn't do, and somebody in particular... Our friend Angela Alioto was the mastermind behind the whole thing. Yeah. And you know, I raised a lot of money myself for it. Because I really believed in it.
Yes.
And I took a lot of heat from many of the clergy because they thought, why are you spending money on this holy place? Because again, people come from all over. Oh, it reminded me of an old joke. I heard a guy was arrested, and he went to jail, and his dad ran a potato farm. Are you listening?
I'm listening. I'm loving it.
His dad ran a potato farm. He said, son, you're in jail. How are we going to till the soil and everything? And he said, well, I don't know, Dad. He said, you could tell the cops that I hid all my guns and ammo around the house there. So the cops come and they dig up all the land, and he calls his son back into jail. He said, now, Dad, you can plant. so that the potatoes would grow.
Would grow. That's brilliant.
Well,
So I never understand systems, Harry.
Yeah.
There's a line by Hyman Rickover, the admiral, a brilliant admiral of the nuclear navy,
yeah.
who literally trained President Jimmy Carter. He said, if you're going to sin against God, not the system, at least God will forgive you.
Yeah.
So systems, bureaucracies, organizations that are huge, I always think they live in fear of lawsuits.
Yeah.
They're going to come and they'll sue you for not looking on somebody. And something bad could happen inside that chapel.
Yeah.
Folks, hello. All you got to do, and he isn't saying it because he's a retired priest of the Archdiocese. Here's what I'm saying to all of you sitting together in deciding and in judgment. Any place that people can pray together, any place in a big city filled with tourists that people can walk into and be reminded while they're having great food and great visuals of the city, where you can stop a moment and pray to St. Francis of Assisi, who taught peace everywhere he went and risked his life to go see in the Holy Land and confront a tyrant. Any place like that where you can find prayers is needed.
Who confronted the Pope and made the difference, because at the time the church there's a bronze statue in Rome right in front of St. John Lateran, which would have been the Vatican at the time of Francis. And there's all his brothers, and they're all like this, you know. They're trying to hold up the front of the Church of Lateran because they think it's going to all fall down and everything. But they're doing what they can to show that they care and they want peace.
Right.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, they've held these peace rallies in Assisi for years and had people from all over the world. And when you get into a situation like we are today with the Ukraine, you know, it's even more important. I mean, how many people would stop in that little shrine and say a prayer for peace, or pray for their brothers and sisters who they wouldn't before, and the gate's locked, you can't get in, and they've got people who are willing to volunteer to sit there and welcome the tourists,
welcome everybody,
and say, you know, here's a little book on the life of St. Francis, etc.
The only thing that is keeping that padlock locked has to be fear, or the only other thing is ego. Because if you think that you have to be in control of things, and it's a sad thing, and I pray for anybody that has control issues. I pray for them. Because, you know, if you look in scriptures, if you look in history songs, one of the things going on in Ukraine now is literally Russia and Ukraine are family, have been for years, and now they're killing each other. And there's a poem written by Longfellow, and in despair I'd hang my head, there is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. But then I heard the bell peal loud and deep. God is not dead, nor does he sleep. The wrong shall fail and the right prevail. With peace on earth, goodwill to all. And I think Longfellow wrote that. He had...
And you took the time to memorize it.
Well,
Or did you use it in part of your shows?
I can only tell you this, Harry. Anything that I sometimes remember, when I'm done, I go, where did that come from?
Oh.
And I always feel like if words that I need to remember to say to people are given me. And, you know, this isn't about profound mysticism, folks, because
I'll vote for that. I'm all in for that one. profound.
He's been in the car when I've passed gas, folks.
Oh, no, Michael.
I'm sorry. Did I? We'll edit that out, won't we, say so? But all I'm saying, all I can say is this: that that anger control issues, anger past 30 seconds is ego, and the ego is not your amigo. Let it go. Forgive to live. Allow things to be and happen, so that you're not, embroiled in controversies, soap operas, and insane dramas that cost you your health and your wellness. Let it go. Allow things to happen.
Those people are like termites that eat away at the foundation of anything good that needs a strong foundation.
Right.
And I hate to call a whiner a termite. A termite's not a bad word, is it?
No, but that's the old joke is the guy says the termite walks in to the bar and goes, "Is the bartender here?" So that's good for the Olympic Club. So is the bartender here so I can chew through the way? Well, but here's all I can tell you. I know that when things are sent to destroy by just allowing the dissolution, like they come in and start to dissolve it, the woodwork or stuff like that. A termite destroys things built to be better than that. To if you've ever seen a termite eat a good guitar or a violin, folks, you're like, why would that, and you question the sanity of the world, but then yet this, that guitar and that violin playing together can bring harmony. And that's what we're most seeking for. So do what we can to eliminate the termites' ability to.
I remember a priest one time, he was getting a lot of static from a couple of whiners.
Yeah.
Yanny, you don't do this, don't do that. So he said he took a little vote, and it was 98-2 or something. The two whiners were the only two really against him.
Right.
So he worked a whole year to satisfy those two whiners, and then did everything. So the next year he took a vote, and it was 98-2.
Nothing had changed.
The other way.
Oh, they were mad. The whiners got their way. Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. They were mad. I don't know whether it was percentages or whatever it was, but he would just say he worked so hard, and it was more to us. It was like a little group in a parish. Sometimes they can take over, and they want to. You know what it is.
I do. Yeah.
And then you do everything you can, and by satisfying that group, you
alienated the others.
Yeah, the others. They were all for you at the beginning.
Yeah.
And now they're all eating shit.
I used to teach a song that I wrote for little kids. Wine, wine, wine. I like to wine. I whine and grump and complain all day. I never want to go out to play. I never do what my parents say. I whine, whine, whine. And little kids would laugh really hard and they'd applaud. And I go, but how many of you, when mom and dad say you got to go help me clean up, they go, oh, fine. And they all raise their hand and I go, don't you feel bad that your mom and dad have to do that? And that's your resistance? And one of the little kids in the back goes, yeah, well, you don't live at my house.
What do you know about it?
He said, that's how we get by. Whining is a form of rebellion for the greater good of me. And
now, isn't this funny? I bring up whining, and you got a song for
yeah. I've been teaching kids for 50 years, and when you have the little ones, they are hilariously funny in their observations of adult life.
Okay.
And the input of, getting kids to unwind from all their anxieties and many of them are neurodiverse, which means they have issues that are learning differences. They're dyslexic or autistic, or they have ADD, oppositional defiance disorder. We don't even know sometimes. I mean, we don't know the early childhood trauma that causes a kid to be so angry, or she or he, that you feel like you'll never get to the end of their anger. Mm-hmm. And they complain about everything and they whine about it. And literally, it is a cry for help. It is a cry for, can you see me? Can you see what happened before that caused me to be angry? They might have been hurt in childhood, emotionally or in other sad ways. And so when they're in a classroom situation and they're resistant to everything, or they have obsessive compulsive disorder, all they're trying to do is go, please see me. I'm an individual, see what I am going through and try to understand me. And, then it's your turn in the confessional to try and get them to unwind and tell you what's up. And when you get the kids to finally, in front of a group like I do, I get them to talk about it, everything gets real quiet when they talk about the sadness that causes them to become the person that they see. And I had one kid who was a bully in West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia. And he goes, and this was a moment of dead quiet. He goes, I needed friends, and nobody here senior year has ever been my friend because I'm heavy, I have bad complexion, and I wear dark black clothes. And he goes, what you don't see is who I am interior. In a way, I have a mom at home who loves me and I have taken care of because she has cerebral palsy now. And I've been taking care of her for years. I'm a good person. And I need friends, but I never had one here. And there's dead quiet. And then afterwards I said, wow, that was an amazing speech. I said, did you feel the quiet of the whole room finally understanding who you were because you spoke up for yourself, about yourself? And he said, yeah. And he goes, I just didn't want to bring up the fact that I'm an amazing marksman and that I have a lot of long rifles. And I went,
oh my God.
Well,
Yeah.
perhaps a really good thing you didn't bring that up. But that's what I think that we need, people telling the truth to each other.
I found a phrase here of I was reading the poem of a dying girl. You ever read that?
No.
Anyway, one of the lines is, I had to love today because you couldn't promise me tomorrow. Wow. So from somebody that's looking at a term when it could all be over.
Right.
I had to love today. That's the reason for loving today and putting yourself out was because you couldn't promise that there was going to be a tomorrow.
Right. And I think that's the line that we should all really truly embody. We are not promised tomorrow. We are never promised tomorrow. Violence and tragedies don't have zip codes, folks. If you have wealth and abundance, privilege and comfort, think of my friends this year that I have lost, Bob Saget and Louis Anderson. They were worth millions of dollars, and none of that could stop the unfortunate circumstance of their loss to all of us. Brilliant comedians and excellent resurrectionists of humor and laughter and resiliency being lost to the world. And I'm sure none of them in passing thought, well, when I wake up this morning, this will be my last day. Yeah. And so it's important to be generous with your own comforting spirit to others, right?
Speaking of spirit, have you ever heard of the expression? I know you have. That's why I'm asking you. Spitting image. Mm. You know where that comes from? I read it in the New York Times several years ago. The spitting image came from spirit and image.
Wow.
and somebody turned it around to be called, because you're the spitting image of Louis Anderson or somebody.
Right.
But what it really used to mean was you have the same spirit, and you have the same image. So
Wow.
So it's talking about the inside and the out.
But it's not from 23andMe, from spitting into a cup and finding out where your project.
But
But
if I act dumb, folks, it's because it's catchy.
what I love about kids is they teach you things. One of them taught me something very powerful. He was dyslexic, and he goes, "I don't know if you know this, Mr. Mike, but DNA is just and to me.
And
A-N-D, DNA.
Oh.
He's dyslexic. He sees it backwards, so it's and. And I'm like, wow. And so you think, we find out what's internally ours through our DNA. What things that we possess that are rolled over by our ancestors into us. Those things that remind us that this is the emotional archaeology of our life, the spiritual archaeology of our life in the DNA. And you find yourself awakening to the fact that you have descended from, like for me, I think back of all my relatives and family and friends over the years, many of them in heaven now, that had incredible stories of becoming immigrants to America and hitting Ellis Island, and the fear that must have, my aunts and uncles are all, their parents were both Irish immigrants from Cork and Tipperary, and they hit Ellis Island. One was a chauffeur and the other an upstairs maid, Frank Bartley and Kate Kerrigan, and then they met. And then they had 9 kids. And when I was a little boy growing up, my grandfather would just pray the rosary. And now I'm the age that he was when he lived with us. And I find myself on that rosary all the time. And I just personally I think it's the DNA. I think it's in me to echo back through.
Was he a big man?
Oh, he's a big man, yeah.
So I'm going to take us back to our trees again.
Right.
You and I have talked about before how the sequoias and the redwoods bind together underground,
Right.
and their roots and all are intertwined
Like
to
community.
give them strength and community.
Yeah.
So now they I don't know the person's name, but the bonsai tree. The bonsai tree had what was called a taproot. And you could go into this plant and tap that root, and the guy worked on it for years, where he then developed, this tree would only grow like a foot. You've seen those Japanese trees.
Yeah, bonsai trees, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same way that, all of us have a taproot that we ask for gifts, and you could say grace, growth in spiritual life, the ability to turn away from being a whiner, as we started out, and seeing the good in other people and other things. So it's, if our taproot then is God and the Spirit, we have that spitting image, a spirit and an image, because we're made to the image and likeness, so the scriptures tell us as well. So you obviously weren't a bonsai tree.
No, but I did. I had friends in college. One of the kids that was on our team he had 2 or 3 of those bonsais, and I never knew any of that. I never knew that. Taproot is amazing. That's like, because it's literally a choice, as Father Harry said. What's it going to be? Wine or shine? Complain or gain? Bitter or better? It's a choice, right? Right?
And you make it.
Yeah. And you make that choice. Better, shine, and gain. And, that's the key for me. I think back of the taproot. That's amazing that it's all stored in that tap. Wow. Oh, that's cool.
So I'm going to entertain you with a joke because all the years you would call me up with a joke. Some of the worst jokes I've ever heard in my life have come from Pritch. I mean, these are really bad jokes, and I don't mean unhealthy or filthy or language. I just mean they're bad jokes.
Bad jokes.
But he tries them on me.
Right, yes.
So when the phone goes dead, he knows that he also is at home dying. So the 4 old golfers are out, and I mean they're way past the age when they could really play. The first one says, "Oh, the fairways are so long," and the second one is still whining, and he said, "And the sand traps have gotten so big," and the third one is whining, and he goes, "Yeah, and the hills are getting steeper and steeper." And the fourth one, who was positive, said, "But boys, we're all playing above the grass."
Wow.
4 old guys.
Yeah.
We're still able to play above the grass.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Nothing to complain about here.
Yeah. And
You get out there on that golf course and you're just feeling it all. Yeah.
Well,
That's a great story.
Well, I thought it was a joke.
Well, yeah, but it's a profound joke.
Yeah.
Because when you tell, as we're aging, what do we want? The camaraderie, the love, the compassion of playing together. I mean, it's why people, oh man, we were called in, me and Jimmy Carruthers, who's a youth pastor, he and I were called in to work at this one rec center over in the East Bay to get people to calm down. And the men were at the pool table and they were cursing in front of the women who were the puzzle people at the senior center. And the puzzle people didn't want to hear the cursing from the pool table. And Jimmy and I were there, and the guys were going, "You can't tell us not to play pool and curse." And the women are saying, "You're polluting the puzzle people's lives with these words." And so we try to get them to come to an accommodation, and the final accommodation from the men was, "I'll try and be a little bit more respectful." And so, and the woman was hilarious. She goes, "Fellas, don't make it complicated. We're puzzle people."
And if we've puzzled you, we're puzzle people too. I'm the Padre, and this is the Pritch, and I think this is the 20th podcast we've done, and it's called Whiners. So we're trying to get people to enjoy life the way that we've enjoyed our lives together and as individuals, and trying to help other people get along better. So thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Find some fun out there, folks.
See you again next week, Mike.